Hello!
Hey guys!
Welcome to another podcast of AfternoonTeaV. We are now going to be covering Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
And I say it so overwhelmingly, really. It's like, this should have happened a long time ago.
There's so much stuff that happened.
Yeah.
And that we're going to cover.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of why we're eating as we're doing this, because we've been trying to formulate some thoughts, and then it was like, dude, I'm hungry.
I'm munching away.
Yeah, so don't mind us, and if the sound of chewing bothers you, because I know it bothers me sometimes, don't listen.
But listen, please. Alrighty.
So,
what do we need to know, tell people? Okay, for obvious reasons, this season 4 was book 3. And it was split technically into 2 parts, but it's not like a 2-parter, it's just a whole new season. So, A Storm of Swords was huge. Thick. That sucker is, it's probably one of the best books in the series to some. Mm-hmm. Season 3 covered, probably the first half, and from what I understand, Season 4 is the next half. Now, a lot of elements from A Feast of Crows are in there, some things from Clash of Kings, whatever. Mm-hmm. But in Season 4, it's for obvious reasons, this is where things go down big time. This is the knit and grit, this is the not-so-pretty season.
Well, they all haven't been pretty, but...
No, but this one's the worst out of all of them. To my opinion, excuse me.
Unless we count Season 5, then yes. But we're talking about Season 4 right now, so yes.
You're right. Keeping with what I'm trying to say is, basically, from where we're at, we're not at Season 5 yet. I just mean Season 4 because it has probably the most prominent deaths of characters that either been introduced, have been in the show for some time, and they go off in dramatic ways. And, I feel like this is the season where things are so intense. This is the season where... What's a word I'm looking for?
Sorry.
Not that word.
I was just going to try to do that while you were pausing.
No, you're fine. It's solid storytelling to me. It's storytelling at its finest, and you could just feel it in the show. And I mean, this is just me. I mean, I'm sure you could be...
I completely agree with everything that you're saying so far.
Right. And well, good. It's... To say it's one of my favorite seasons of the show would be an understatement. However, there's just so much that goes on that's like, okay, that was dramatically powerful. That was really cool. And then something happens that just bores into my memory banks and doesn't leave because I'm such a sensitive soul. And we'll get to that. You know exactly what I'm talking about. But, yeah, so anyway, to get started, obviously, it's technically the end of the war. Joffrey Baratheon believes that he was at a good part in all of this. He had a part to play, and he did it well. He's like, I fought in the war, and now I'm the one that ended it. So, stop it, you little twerp. Just stop.
Sansa stays.
She does stay. She was supposed to leave, but she never did. Arya is with the Hound. Mm-hmm. They have a very interesting storyline. They just kind of travel throughout Westeros and see the things of how everyone's affected by the war, and
Well, he's trying to get her to her family.
Yeah, and they have a good relationship for the most part. To say it's good is really not a good word to use, but they have a good rapport. The Hound is just this guy who knows how the world works. He knows what he needs to do. And he at least makes that clear. Look, this is how it is. This is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. If you don't like it, too bad. And as far as I'm considering, they have probably the most interesting storyline. But where everything's really taking place is King's Landing.
Yeah, I would agree. I do think it's interesting that, the Hound leaves King's Landing. He finds Arya along the way.
Yeah, through the Brotherhood Without Banners. That was in season 3.
Yes. And he decides to take her to her family so that he can get some money and move and just live out the rest of his life.
Absolutely. And so that's kind of his motivation for all of it.
Was he taking her to River Run?
I think so. I can't quite remember.
I think so, because that's when she learned... Didn't she learn that Robb died? At that point?
By the end of season 3, she was almost there at the Red Wedding. But the Hounds saved her from that brutal massacre. But no, she ended up killing the guy who ended up beheading Robb and put the wolf on his head. So that was her first kill. In her life. So yeah, so she technically avenged Robb in a much different way than she had hoped. But yeah. As far as like trying to think back on how much has gone down, like
we have the introduction of a bunch of new characters. We could talk about that.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So we have. People are saying it differently. I say Oberyn Martell, but Oberyn Martell. Oberyn Martell. He is. He's from Dorne, which is someplace that we had not explored yet in this season.
Very, very south as you can get.
Yes, and they have like Spanish dialect. It's very Hispanic, I suppose. Very interesting. He's probably one of the more colorful characters, and I think he's very watchable. Very watchable. And like, if there's anybody that we like in our last podcast talking about, how there are actors who play these roles and either fit the mark or don't, I would say
he definitely fit the mark.
Definitely. Let's see. Then we have his wife, which I've seen her in other works, but I can't remember her name for the life of me.
Who cares? She was Susie in Torchwood. She was also in Rome. She was Luther's wife, Zoe.
And, I like her for the most part. She seems because of Oberyn's lifestyle of being this really, as the creators would call it and how you would describe him, the ladies love him and the guys love him. And so he's a very laid back, very, I know what I want, this kind of thing. He knows exactly who he is. And he has fun with it. And he always has to make like a sexual reference every other sentence. It's pretty funny. But his wife just really takes up after him as well. Like, call me what I am. I'm a bastard. And that's how it is in Dorne. So don't be modest around me. You're fine.
Yeah.
And she was actually very, she was very serviceable and she was really likable to watch and stuff like that. So what other characters am I missing?
I think we actually meet more of the Tyrells.
That's right. The father. Again, names, but the father Tyrell. He's
not that important. But,
not really.
He's mainly just a kiss ass and a pawn.
Like Sansa.
Yup.
Poor girl. I think that's what we're supposed to say about Sansa. Just poor girl. So at this point, Sansa is in King's Landing. Everyone's really at King's Landing. Everyone we've mentioned, except for Arya and the Hound. We've got Bran, and he's just still traveling. Not really much for me to know about him.
Yeah.
Because I remember he's still trying to find the three-eyed raven. And, Jojen Reed is still trying to, help him along that. But as far as I'm considering, there's a lot going on with him. I'd say more in the books than here in the show. We're just seeing his travels and starting to understand about being a warg and, traveling inside of another animal's mind. That's cool, but just, it's light stuff. God, I feel like there's something I'm missing.
I don't know. season 4 just had so much, like, stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really pinpoint one thing. Like, Sansa ends up getting married to Tyrion Lannister.
That's true, yes.
They make her get married to Tyrion, which Doug and I have already talked about this. That is not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not. It's truly not. I mean, especially if you look at the way Tyrion is as a person. First off, he's always given the Starks respect. He's always, stuck up for them in various different ways. I mean, when Ned Stark was beheaded, he exiled the man who did it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's not respect, I don't know what is.
When he even spoke to Ned Stark, he was very respectful. Like, he knew that Ned Stark was a good man, an honorable man. So, I mean, it was just, out of all the people that could have been chosen for her, Tyrion was not the worst. Plus, they were both outsiders. Like,
very much so.
Tyrion is an outsider in his own family. Sansa is considered, the daughter of a traitor, so she's an outsider.
And not to mention treated like crap because of Joffrey. Like, Joffrey.
He just loves torturing her.
Yes, and he loves torturing those around her. I mean, him, excuse me. Mm-hmm. Because he does act like a little beep. Mm-hmm. And I think if there's anyone... Okay, from where I'm at, you hear things before you go into a TV show. You hear that, oh, this is the season where this happens. And then you're like, oh, okay, when's that going to be? How long am I going to wait? In this regard, Joffrey Baratheon, or should we say Joffrey Lannister, as a little, I'm going to say twat muffin because that's what he is, and I absolutely abhor him. Mm-hmm.
Good use of the word abhor.
Thank you. About time I got something right.
Very good.
I really loathe that character's existence. Big time.
I think everyone does.
And what we've heard so far is like, what I've heard, especially in the books, is that he dies. And I'm like, when's that gonna happen? Like, we were waiting for that since season 1. Because he was just a little thing. And then, like, season... Douchebag! And, I said this to you, and you made a pretty good point, that in season 3, I felt that that's when it should have happened. I think that should have been the finale of season 3. After the Reigns of Castamere, I think the next episode should have been, a build-up, and then Joffrey dies, and then they end. And I was thinking, that would have been awesome to get us to go, oh, we gotta find out what happens next. No, it's more or less... just a couple of filler moments, and then, okay, see you next season. And then finally, you're like, okay, so how long me personally, how long am I going to wait for this satisfaction to happen?
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely think the Red Wedding, like, it's so important. It needed to happen.
It was brutal.
It was brutal, but it had to happen.
Yes.
And yeah, I definitely think that Joffrey should have died at the end of season 3.
However,
because people who hadn't read the books would be in so much turmoil, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen?
I would have felt like, well, you said to me thereafter, it's like, well, I think that would have been too much, after the Red Wedding.
It might have been, but at the same time, like, everyone would have been turned on their heads, and yeah.
I think it would have caused enough buzz, and it's like, yeah, give us the season 4. Now.
Very much.
But, yeah.
I don't know. Season 4, obviously we know that Joffrey dies.
Mm-hmm. Which we don't actually have to wait long.
Yeah, it's like, what is it, the second episode? I thought it was the 3rd, but whatever.
It's episode 2. Okay. They called that the Purple Wedding.
Right, okay.
It's definitely, if episode 1 for season 4 was just like this, kind of like what we're doing right now, just catching you up. This is where everybody's at. This is what's going on.
Except for Gendry. He's still rowing a freaking boat in the middle of nowhere.
We don't even know where he is.
He's probably made it to Bravos by now.
And Gendry is not, he hasn't shown back up. Not since after, Davos just sent him off. He was like, no, Follow the North Star. Go.
Yeah, and it's like, they see me rowing, they hating.
Gonna catch me riding dirty, you know? And you're just like, I ain't catching you anymore. You're gone, dude. I don't know where you went.
For real, though, it's like, dude, where's Gendry?
What about Beth? You know? I think Gendry filled his purpose, and I think whenever he shows up, he'll have a new purpose. You know, whatever the case may be. Who knows what they're doing at this point? But we know where everyone's at, and then episode 2 starts, and it just starts off with a bang. It's like, this is where I wanted it to start off with. It starts off with showing you Theon and Bolton, and they're chasing down this girl, and it was like, okay, this is 7 ways of messed up. And then you see Theon, and he's damaged. Like,
he is so broken.
You see him twitching, like, yes, my lord, yes. You know, like, oh.
He's so broken.
You got what you deserve, but oh.
He really did, but it was like, oh, you poor thing.
You know, and, you know, it's always serving punishment. Bolton's always finding something to torture Theon with, and that's just how psychotic Bolton is. And, of course, you know, Bolton's now becoming a character. He was sort of a character in Season 3, which was the most annoying aspect of Season 3. When you got to see Theon, you saw him in brief moments. He was being tortured. You saw Bolton, but you didn't know it was him really related to anything. Torturing him, next
All
scene.
you heard was Ramsay. You didn't know that he was Ramsay Bolton.
Right. Or, excuse me, Ramsay Snow. Because, you know, I forgot.
He was still a bastard.
He was still a bastard at that point.
He hadn't been named yet. I am so sorry.
You're fine.
I just feel like I'm dying. Don't mind me.
That's why you're letting me talk more, you know. And I'm like, oh wait, I think I'm losing Sarah, you know.
I'm just trying not to die.
It's okay. Actually, the more I keep talking, the more it jogs my memory, so it helps, you know.
Well,
but
that's
just
good then.
You help reaffirm it, so it works.
Okay.
Don't mind the coughing, the sneezing, the hacking. I mean, poor Sarah here is still getting over her chest, head cold, whatever it is. It's okay.
I had a cold, and then this past Saturday, I spent 4 hours at an event for work, and it was pouring down rain. And the entire left side of my body completely drenched. I was drenched head to toe. And I didn't drive. I actually took the metro. So then I had to sit in a cold metro car. And it was still raining. We had to walk to the metro station. I didn't have an umbrella.
Oh, you poor thing. Now, was this when you called me? No, because you were telling me how you... No, that's right. I'm sorry. Excuse me. This must have been happening after you called me, like, a day or so later when you were going to work. Because you were saying you were already driving, so obviously it wasn't the same day. Excuse me.
No, actually I think it was the day before when I went to Magruder's. It was the day before. But anyways, so yeah, I was already sick, and then I think I just got another cold on top of it.
I think you kicked it back into gear, so...
Yeah, so I've been sick for like 2 weeks now, and I'm really over it.
Well, we'll need that disclaimer, because I am tired of editing these podcasts. I just want to leave them as natural as possible.
That's totally fine. I'm just like, dude, so sick right now.
Unless you say, don't put that in there, and I'd be like... Okay. So it's fine, and I get it, because when we're trying to cover this, it takes some jogging of your memory to finally recount everything that's going on. Like I'm just gonna jump back on in. By episode 2, things kick into gear, and everything that happened with Theon, Ramsay, and all that stuff finally come into more focus than in season 3. Season 3 only like, here's a piece. Almost to the point where it annoyed me. Like, why are we just seeing Theon tortured relentlessly by this guy? I needed to know what was going on.
I agree. But I kind of felt like Theon's sister was just kind of thrown in there as an afterthought.
Yeah, whatever they planned on doing, they didn't do.
And I was actually kind of disappointed by that, because I actually think she's a pretty cool character.
Especially how we met her. Especially how we met her, too, where,
Yes.
you know, that was hilarious.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Tell me that was Firefly. Was that... Okay. I understood that reference. But all things considered, you know, Theon's sister came in through the second season. Theon mistaken her for, you know, just a random girl.
And started hitting on her pretty hard.
Yeah, very much so.
Until he found out that it was his sister and was like, oh, no!
Humiliation. And that was just the start of Theon's humiliation, that's for sure. Then his dad rejects him, then he goes takes over Winterfell. He quote-unquote kills the Stark boys.
Bran and Rickon.
Yeah.
What happened to Rickon?
He just tore off, and that was it.
He just pissed off to nowhere. Like, whatever, dude.
Kind of like Gendry.
Dude. Gendry will be rowing for the next 20 years.
Yeah. They see me rowing. Let's see. What else? The biggest thing of it all, and especially, like, I can't remember anything else that happened in the second episode, but the very end is Joffrey and Marjorie Tyrell's wedding. And they're at the reception. And George R.R. Martin wrote that screenplay. And what was so great about this is how... It's almost like you forget that Joffrey's a little twat. And so you're like, is he going to do anything redeemable? No. Why am I even bothering with that kind of hope? All things considered, though, they just reaffirmed how much of a douchebag he was, especially throughout his reception.
Yeah, like he picks on his uncle Tyrion, and I kind of feel like, even though, what is it in the does he get married to Sansa in season 3?
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, right?
More or less towards the end, yeah.
So I feel like as time goes on, like, she starts to pity him.
Sansa?
Yeah. I feel like she starts to pity him, and I feel like she starts to see
they
that...
get on the same page with the situation.
And I kind of feel like she starts to think that he may not be the bad person that everyone said he was.
Yeah.
But I feel like... Again, you've said it before, like, no one ever likes Sansa.
Mm-hmm. If they do, they're
Ever.
not saying.
I don't like her.
I know.
I think she could have died a long time ago and I would have been okay with it.
But no, they just enjoy using her as a pawn, and she stayed a pawn even up until season 5. Spoilers, but it's true.
There's no character growth for her. Like, she never changes. She never
whines,
grows.
she complains, she cries, then something happens, she tries to do something, it's taken away from her. She whines, she repeat. And I'm at the point... In
season 1, you can see it, because she's had everything that she's ever wanted given to her at Winterfell. And she gets to King's Landing, and obviously Ned Stark sees how dangerous it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, we can't be here. We've got to go home where it's safe. And she's like, no, I'm going to stay with Joffrey, and I'm going to marry him. And we're going to have beautiful babies. Golden-headed lions.
That's the only thing I ever wanted.
And you could just see how pathetic she is.
And you're wondering,
and
like...
she never really changes.
You're kind of wondering why, like, is this the kind of ploy that we need to hear in real life? Because don't have dreams because they're going to be crapped upon. You know, because Sansa had only one thing, and that was... get married. That's all she wanted, especially with Joffrey. But then everything just goes slamming hard down on her, and... that was it.
Well, she realizes very quickly that maybe marriage wasn't exactly what she wanted.
Mm-hmm. Especially with Tyrion, like, she got the rudest wake-up call. But then it's like, at this point, she's starting to see this isn't the worst deal that I've been dealt.
Yeah, I mean, and even Tyrion says, like, I'll sleep over here. Like, I'm not going to sleep with you unless you want me to. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, what if I never want you to? And he was like, and so my watch begins.
Yes! And he was drunk, and that was the best. That was still in season 3.
That was the best.
When, you know... oh, it's only some of the things I could repeat because it would require language, and we're trying to keep it classy. But he told Joffrey off. He slammed a knife down on the table, and he's like... you'll be screwing your wife with a wooden prick. And then Joffrey's like, what did you just say? What did you say? And it's like, you heard him, but he's drunk. Yeah. And Tyrion drunk is just brilliant. And he's like, I vomited on a woman once. Come, darling, I'll tell you about it. Put you in the mood. That was the greatest. If there was a highlight besides the brutality of the Reigns of Castamere, which is Red Wedding, that it was Tyrion getting married and drunk. That was just perfect. Pretty much speaks our mind at any foul situation we come across.
Pretty much, and I don't feel like Sansa really appreciated the situation that she was in.
Until that moment.
I feel like if she had just been different, she would have realized she's in the best location she possibly can be.
No one would have touched her?
No one would have touched her. No one would have screwed with her. She could have known everything about what was going on in King's Landing. She would have been just fine.
But she didn't see that, and she didn't work it to her advantage.
She didn't. I don't even think she cared to see it that way. She just wanted to whine and mope and be a prisoner. And then Littlefinger says, hey, I'll get you out of here. Because Littlefinger is the guy to be trusted. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I would have been like, nah, dude, you can shove your fingers up your ass. Like, no.
Yeah, and Littlefinger,
He's slimy.
He's so slimy. He gets you with his little finger.
Oh my god, he is so grimy and oh my god, no.
Well, speaking of which, to come to that point, this is how Sansa ends up with Littlefinger in the journeys that we'll see for the rest of the season. When Joffrey dies, the finger starts being pointed.
At who killed him.
And the first person who gets that pointing is
Tyrion.
Yep.
From, you guessed it, Cersei Lannister.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the royal cunt of the court.
You didn't quite say it.
So. I didn't quite. No, so it's all right. We don't need to bleep it out.
I'll tell you right now, and the way oh, sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say, I hate her, 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 I hate her.
If that's your hate for Cersei, Joffrey, right here. I hate him. I hate him so much.
Well, I mean,
the devil doesn't want him.
I hate Joffrey, but, Cersei hates Tyrion for, no reason. At all.
There is a reason. It's just a reason we don't care about. Something that is just illogical. Because
her mother died in childbirth, giving birth to Tyrion, all of a sudden you hate him for the rest of his life?
Yeah. That doesn't fly with you. And it technically doesn't fly with any of us.
It's stupid because, honestly, Tyrion could have been her biggest ally.
And it didn't even occur to her. Same with Sansa.
Tyrion is smarter than everyone else.
That's why he's so likable.
He is so smart. He can see the game 20 paces ahead.
Absolutely. And fortunately, the one thing that he did not see coming was being accused of killing the king.
Especially when the king sat there and just made fun of him and made fun of him and made fun of him. And he took it.
And a grief-stricken Cersei just looks at him the way Joffrey was pointing at him. It's like, and it must have been him.
No, you're just jumping on that because you hate him and you just want him out of your way.
I want you to say the word after I get to this point. It's but you misguided cunt. Yes, that's what she was. That's just all she was. And basically, how Joffrey dies is that he was poisoned. He starts vomiting, he starts choking, he turns purple. It was phenomenal.
Which we actually find out was done by Lady Olenna.
Tyrell. And
the baddest bitch in the place, y'all.
And since we mentioned the Tyrells, obviously she's she's the grandmother of Marjorie.
She's the matriarch, and she the baddest bitch in town, y'all. Yes.
You know, it's so funny when I have my cousin Kevin. Yeah, he watches the show. Every time she pops up, he's laughing his ass off.
She's great.
She's great. She's the Lady of Thorns, or is that what they call her?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, yeah, she's thorny. She's got a little prickly side.
Dude, I love her. Yes.
In season 5, it was so funny. She opens the door and she's coming to King's Landing. She goes, "Oh, you could smell the shit from here." She closes the window. I'm like, I hadn't seen you in a while, and that's the first thing I hear. I love you.
She's so great.
You love her snide comments. You love how quick to the point she is. She's every lady's dream. You wish you could be her.
Yes, I'm so serious. I was not kidding when I said she is the baddest bitch in town. I love her. She is nothing but sass and nasty, gritty bitchiness. And I loves it.
And you know, it'd be a shame to say that she's even tame at best when, you know, she has to be. And she's just brutal in other moments.
Yeah, she just says exactly what's on her mind, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. In moments, she has to conform to what's going on because it's, you know, tactics, it's politics. Yes. But other than that, she'll complain about it after it's done. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I had to deal with that moron."
So, really quick, I just want to queue up season 4 because I really want to get into season 5 because there's so much meat.
Yes.
In season 5. So season 4, Tyrion has a wonderful trial scene. Basically,
he demands a trial by combat.
But I will say his little speech, his monologue, is one of the most brilliant monologues I've ever heard.
I've been on trial for being a dwarf my entire life.
Yeah. I would actually put that on the same pedestal as the monologue from A Few Good Men.
I haven't seen A Few Good Men.
By Jack Nicholson.
I have
Tom
seen
Cruise,
it. I have seen it.
Like,
it's just been a very long time since I've seen it.
So I was like, no, it's so great. You can't handle the truth. But that little monologue, I would say it's right up alongside there. It's just beautiful. And Tyrion says that he wants a trial by combat. He expects that his brother is going to fight for him.
Can't do it.
He can't do it. But the most unlikely person steps up for him, and it is Oberyn Martell.
Which had the most revealing back history, not only for him, but why Cersei hates Tyrion so much, and where Tyrion is in this. Like, you know, Tyrion is absolutely getting the worst cards dealt.
Yes.
Martell... Oh, I can't believe that. Okay, if I get a little emotional, forgive me, but Martell just did the most amazing thing recounting the events of what had happened when, you know, Tyrion was born. And he segued it so much into Martell's own motivations of being there in the first place. He hates dead Lannisters. Well, no, he hates Lannisters, but he has an enjoyment of seeing dead Lannisters, you know? And he's like, it's very unusual to see a Lannister who has a common interest of seeing other dead Lannisters. And it's like, oh, who's this? Well, your sister. You know, like, oh boy, here we go. You know?
But I did love the fact that, you know, when Tyrion was born, Cersei told, you know, everybody, like, oh, come see the monster.
Yes.
Come see the monster that killed my mother. Come see the monster. He's so deformed. He's gross. He's ugly. He's hideous.
Unveiled freak. Oh, your head was too big and your body was too small, but there was no monster.
Exactly. Oberyn Martell was just like, listen, you're just different. Like, you're not a monster. And I think that probably for the second time in his life, and I'll tell you the other time in a minute, probably for the second time in his life, he didn't feel different. He felt like he was just as tall as Oberyn Martell. I think the only other time was maybe when he was talking to Jon Snow at the wall.
I remember that. In fact,
and Jon was kind of telling him, like, you know, I'm always going to be a Snow. I'm never going to be a Stark. I'm always going to be the bastard. And he said, listen, my last name's Lannister, but, all dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes.
All dwarves are bastards in their father's eyes. And I love what he said beforehand. Never forget what you are. The rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor.
And I think they both kind of looked at each other with like a mutual respect, and
Mm-hmm.
And I think that again made Tyrion feel like he was accepted. But Oberyn Martell steps up to fight for Tyrion, and he's actually fighting against Sir Gregor Clegane, who is the brother of the Hound, and they actually call him the Mountain.
And they don't call him the Mountain for no reason.
He is humongous. But it looks as though Oberyn is going to win.
It's like the thing. It was built up like things are coming together at this point. The moment that Martell says, "I will be your champion," it was like things are coming together. Tyrion's going to get out of this mess. He's going to go back to being awesome. This is going to work. Yes, but then there's a thought in the back of my head going, this is almost coming too perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going to go wrong.
So what happens is Oberyn Martell starts to actually boast, and he wants Sir Gregor to admit that he raped Oberyn's sister.
Right, which is connected...
murdered her children. And it's just an all-around horrible person, and he keeps doing it until finally Sir Gregor comes to his senses and then ends up splitting his skull.
Simply put, yes. And you know what? Despite my sensitivity against... Now, I guess to be clear, that fight scene was tense as hell. To me, I don't know about how it was shot. Like, it was shot okay, but there was a tension in the air that you could just feel because you wanted Martell to win. You know that the Mountain was not called the Mountain for no reason. This guy, he could mess some stuff up, and a lot was at stake at this moment. And you just wanted it to succeed. And when this moment happened, you're just like, Tyrion is fudged. You were just like in a surreal state of mind, like that just happened.
Yeah.
That just happened. Now, this not goes without saying that Martell boasted too much.
Yes.
All right.
But that's the kind of person that he was, though.
Yes, it was. Yeah. He put it on himself to do this, and, of course, you could say he got exactly what he deserved. However, I don't think so. Here's the thing. Let me tell you about how my experience went for this, because I think they had the Memorial Day weekend. They delayed the episode. I think I was trying to watch it. What was it? I was trying to watch it the night before, and it was called The Mountain and the Viper. And I was so tired at that moment. I was like, you know what? I'm going to save the rest for later. And it was a good episode so far. I just never got to that fight scene. So I went to bed, woke up in the morning, saw my status on Facebook, and it said, from someone I can't remember, I am not okay with what just happened on Game of Thrones. And I was like, okay. Not a big deal. It's probably one of those little moments where someone's more emotional than I, and they just made a big deal out about one tiny moment, and that's no big deal. So I get to work. I'm, doing whatever, and it dawns on my mind, when someone says they're not okay with something on Game of Thrones, that's not something to toy with. And if we're talking about that fight scene, what, did Martell kill the Mountain in a grotesque way, and it was just kind of brutal and awful? Like, maybe. And then another thought. It's George R.R. Martin. That's not going to happen. It's going to happen quite the reverse. So I get home. And as I'm home, I see another one on my Twitter feed from one of my friends saying, I am not okay with what just happened on Game of Thrones. Almost exact words. And I'm like, I am getting too hyped up for this. I'm scared. Like, I'm literally scared. Oh, for a TV show. Anyway, we get to this point where, I finished the episode up until the point where I left off, and we get to the fight. Obviously, I told you that I could feel the tension, and I so much at stake. Martell's drinking wine before he fights. And it's like, okay, that's kind of red flag number one. Red flag number two, it's the mountain. This guy's huge. And when you had I'm gonna call her Miss Sand, the wife, she goes, "You're going to fight that?" He's like, "I'm going to kill that." Like, that's the biggest man I've ever seen. It's like, size does not matter when you're flat on your back. Great lines, but it really sucks how it all turned out to be. Now, mind you, I'm already engrossed in this. So the fight scene, anytime the mountain just threw Martell to the side, I was like, oh God, is he okay? Is he going to get back up? Like, what's wrong with me? And then eventually he brings him down. It's like, you killed their children. He stabs him down to the ground. All is well with the world of that moment until he starts boasting. And he's like, say her name. Say it. And I just know, I'm like, this isn't going to be pretty. And it was probably one of the worst things I had ever seen in my entire life. As I said in my last review, actually I did a review on it. It was the single most unwanted thing I'd ever wanted to see, especially to a character like Martell. And yeah, I know I'm sensitive, but that just peaked it beyond any mark that I ever been. It's crazy. I don't understand it. But when he died, it was in a grotesque way. Like, first off, he trips him up. Mountain trips up, Martell. Punches him in the face. He's got armor on. That's not going to be a simple, oh, you got me. No, his teeth flew out. Okay. Kick-in surreal moment. I'm now suddenly going, uh-oh. Puts him on the ground, starts gouging his eyes out. I was done. I was only like, no. Like, I don't really comment when things are happening, but this is the one time I'm like, my nerves are getting the best of me. And then eventually, after, the mountain starts screaming at him like, I killed her, I raped her, and all that stuff. Once the head popped and you just got the idea of what happened, like, anxiety shot through here. Like, I remember it so vividly. Went straight to my fingers, and I couldn't move my fingers for, like, 30 seconds. And I screamed out, no! And then my mom goes, what's wrong? What happened? And I'm like, nothing. I'm fine. And I'm sitting here just like, I gotta calm down. I'm fine. Oh, there goes my hand. I'm fine. So I go up to eat. My mom's like, are you all right? I'm like, I just saw something horrible. I'm fine.
See, I didn't have that experience at all.
Oh, God.
At all. Like, my eyes got big, and I went, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, next episode.
You know what? And I'm going to tell you something right now. I wish I had that response. I wish I had yours.
Because I was like, that did not traumatize me. It wasn't even a big deal. It was just kind of like, oh, shit, that's not good.
Yeah. And even Jeremy Johns was like, it was a guy. He died, okay? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. And then
I'm totally with Jeremy Johns. Like,
yeah.
I think he's my spirit animal. Jeremy Johns is my spirit animal.
Sometimes I wish I was your spirit animal, but I'm a little too emotional for that. But, I'll tell you what. I do wish that I handled that differently because I look at Martell, and he was the best thing in the show thus far since everyone had been dying. You kind of lost track of who was really a good person anymore. And he wasn't a bad guy. I mean, maybe religiously you could say, oh, he wasn't a good guy because he had sex with guys and women, I'm like, who cares? He really added some flavor. He was really kind, if not ruthless in some points. But he also related to Tyrion, which we all love Tyrion. And it gave me such a really profound respect for him. Mm-hmm. And then to see him die the way he did just didn't work for me.
I mean, I was pissed that he was dead, but
yeah.
I wasn't going to freak out about the fact that, or the way that he died, but
mm-hmm. Even I didn't expect to freak out the way I did.
But, I mean, listen, to me, that was one of the most major points of season 4.
Oh, yes,
although I will say, Littlefinger takes Sansa to the Vale, mm-hmm. Which is where her aunt Lysa mm-hmm. lives with her son Robin.
The Moon Door.
What kills me, though, is apparently, well, obviously we already know that Littlefinger had a thing for Sansa's mother.
Mm-hmm.
But Lysa had a thing for Littlefinger.
It wasn't mutual.
No. And
Strategically...
And apparently they'd had sex, and that's weird and awkward, and I don't want to think about it. But anyways, we find out that Lysa actually poisoned Jon Arryn.
Which really set forth the whole...
Which sets the entire thing in Game of Thrones together. Like, that's the whole reason why the whole thing starts.
Yep.
So she poisoned Jon Arryn. Lysa and Littlefinger end up getting married. And so now he is the Warden of the Vale until Robin comes of age. Which, do you really think Robin's going to get to come of age? No. That's why he sends him away. He sends him away to get, like, educated and shit.
Educated.
But then Littlefinger gives Sansa a kiss. It's an innocent kiss. It's like a kiss on the cheek that, like, your grandma gives you when your grandma visits. Like, she gives you a kiss on the cheek. Yeah, it's a sweet. It's
compassionate.
It wasn't sexual.
No, it's compassionate in the sense of...
Well, it may have been sexual for him, but a little bit. But at the moment when he did kiss her, it was like, it'll be okay. Like,
it was a soothing, calm...
Yeah, it was like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of you.
Right.
And he just gave her a kiss on the cheek. He was like, I loved your mother.
Very much.
I always loved your mother. I will take care of you. So he gives her this kiss on the cheek, and then Lysa goes batshit crazy.
Which is like the most scandalous thing that can happen on Game of Thrones. Two actions happen between two people, and the third party sees it. Yeah. If there's anything that I hate more, it's the same thing as you hate when it happened in Marco Polo. You know, oh, you two are getting closer together. I'm getting jealous. Me, it's...
Well, Lysa is mentally fudged.
Ill.
She's very mentally ill.
Yes.
Very.
It's crazy.
But anyways, she ends up getting pushed... Lysa ends up getting pushed through the moon door.
Yeah. Which is kind of like the ironic twist of events in all of it.
So, he made a fly! So I thought that was really funny because it's like, oh, now he's the Warden of the Vale. He doesn't need Lysa. He sent Robin away. I thought he was going to marry Sansa.
Really?
That's what I thought he was going to do. But he did one better. He did more scheming. He did more plotting. And this is when we get into season 5.
Which, we can cover here right now.
He says, you know what? I'm going to take you home. I'm going to take you to Winterfell. Well, who has taken over Winterfell? The Boltons.
Wah, wah, wah.
And Ramsay Bolton, we all know, is a certified psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
And whoa, sorry, the X-Files just got super real for a minute.
Even got sexy a bit.
It was like, what?
Hello.
I was like, what is going on her? Yeah, so he decides to take her to Winterfell. And he's going to take her home, and he decides, I'm going to marry you off to Ramsay Bolton, and that way you can be the Lady of Winterfell, you can take back your home, all this other stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, first mistake, she left Tyrion.
First mistake, yeah, but she was...
Because what would have been better? Tyrion... I mean, yes, Tyrion was accused, but at the same time, like... Jaime had made a deal with their father that Tyrion was going to go off to take the Black.
As long as he kept his mouth shut.
As long as he kept his mouth shut, Jaime would resign from the King's Guard, and he would take his place at Harrenhal.
Right, and he would pass on the legacy of the Lannisters.
Of the Lannisters.
Because if those who do not know, the King's Guard, you're not allowed to wed, you're not allowed to have kids, you're not allowed to have anything. It's like taking the Black. Pretty
much, except you're taking the white.
Yeah.
So, but of course, Tyrion opened his big mouth. But I don't think it would have been such a big deal if Sansa had actually stayed. Because it would have been like, if I have anything to hide, if I'm guilty, do you really think I'm going to be here? But she left.
She left, and which brought more further suspicions. And it would have helped out Tyrion in the long run had she not left.
Exactly, but she a bitch.
She a bitch.
she a bitch.
That's her tactical move, and it really screwed a lot of people over.
It screwed her body.
If you had a problem with Catelyn doing the things that she did, Sansa took up the mantle.
Church. That's all I have to say about church.
Got it. Praise.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, please, Lord, keep it telling me the word.
But one thing that I did forget to mention is that Jaime actually lets Tyrion out of jail.
Right. I thought we were going to probably cover
because
that anyway.
he didn't want Tyrion to die. It's his brother. Jaime's always loved his brother. And what happens is we actually find out that Tyrion's whore, Shay,
which is what made him snap in the first place.
Completely made him snap.
That's the reason why he couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Testified against him at the trial.
Mm-hmm.
Then we find out that Shay was actually sleeping with his father. So not only does he strangle Shay with his bare hands, he then kills his own father with a crossbow.
Yep. In the shitter.
While his dad's taking a shit.
And you know what they used to say about Tywin Lannister? That he used to shit gold. Mm-hmm. And then, like, now he's on the shitter getting killed and is like, and it is to be confirmed, he does not shit gold.
There you go.
Wah, wah, wah.
And then what's really interesting is Lord Varys says, you know what, I'm going to take you somewhere where you can do the most good. So Varys and Tyrion decide to go see Daenerys Targaryen.
Off in, it wasn't Essos.
Marine.
It's Marine, yeah, but what's the land called? I can't remember. Westeros, Essos is further down. Or is it Essos? It's Essos.
I think so.
We're going to just say Essos, but I'm going to look it up and make sure that I'm right. But I'm just going to say all in Essos,
Maybe?
But Marine is there, and that's where Tyrion and Varys is going. Now, Varys, really quick on who he is. He's the master of whisperers. He was a part of the council. He's got spies galore in King's Landing.
He knows everything.
He knows everything. And he's that secret guy who, you know, if you have the right kind of allegiance with him, he'll help you.
And so Sansa's at Winterfell. Ramsay's beating the shit out of her, rapes her in front of Theon. Theon doesn't do shit. It makes him uncomfortable, but he doesn't do anything.
Oh, it was his torture moment. Oh, I'm paying me.
Brienne of Tarth
did nothing. Sorry, what?
Runs into Arya and the Hound, and
oh yeah, that was in season 4 too.
They have a big fight, but Arya says, "I don't need your help," like the little bitch she is, but whatever. And then Brienne of Tarth and Podrick, I love Podrick, run into Sansa, and Sansa says, "I don't need your help." But then, of course, once Ramsay turns out to be a budding psychopath, Brienne of Tarth, I need your help. If I had been Brienne, I would be like, "Nah, bitch, you said you good."
Hey, you signed yourself up. I'm only just making sure that contract stays.
Yeah, and
solid.
like, "Nah, man, you said you good. Like, I'm not helping you." Nuh-uh.
But instead, she waits outside of Winterfell on whichever northeast, southwest corner, waiting for candlelight.
Waits for candlelight to go in and save her. But, anywho, Arya finds herself in Bravos.
Oh, yeah.
And she starts to train with the many-faced god and the faceless... She starts to become a faceless man.
Yeah.
Which I think is really funny, but then she ends up killing some people.
Janos Slint.
There you go. That one guy who actually... Didn't he...
he killed her trainer.
Yeah.
And did a lot more different things, but we actually kind of
He's just a bad guy.
He was just a bad guy, and, you know, they did very well. He liked
deflowering very young girls.
Yeah, he was really kind of a douchebag, too, but we got really a good flavor of him after not seeing him for God knows how long.
Yeah, but he liked deflowering very young girls, and that made me uncomfortable. That made me want to cut off his wiener.
And, well...
Yeah.
Funny enough, I kind of wish that happened in the sense of irony, how people die in Game of Thrones. I would have been really interesting if Arya kind of just stabbed him a few times, maimed him, but instead he stabbed his eyes, chest a couple of times, or stomach, and then slit his throat. And I'm like, you could have gotten a little more creative with that.
A little bit, but anyways.
This isn't no final destination, but hey, I've got little wants and desires.
Exactly. Daenerys Targaryen gets rid of Jorah Mormont. She finds out that he was spying on her. So
Yep.
she's like, I never want to see you again. Jorah Mormont sees Tyrion, kidnaps him, and brings him to Daenerys and says, I brought you a Lannister. So then Daenerys, for whatever freaking reason, was just like, yeah, sure, let's trust the Lannister.
Well, I'll threaten to behead you, but, Tyrion makes his case.
Like he always does.
Yes, which is...
But she doesn't bring back Mormont, which is really sad. So then he decides to become a gladiator-esque kind of guy and decides to fight for her.
Or
and then,
fight in front of her to really kind of impress her.
Yeah, to fight in front of her so he could be like, please bring me back. I'm so sorry.
Please, babe.
Right. Bae.
Bae. Oh.
Bae.
Danish word for poop. But
then, in Meereen, there are some people who don't like Daenerys' decisions. They are called Sons of the Harpy. They start killing the Unsullied.
Yep.
They kill, what's his face?
Oh, yeah. One of the trusted advisors of Daenerys' council.
Yes.
I was kind of pissed off about that.
Sir Bellamy.
Barristan Selmy.
Barristan Selmy, there we go.
See, all you gotta do is just give it half right, and I get the rest,
Barristan Selmy.
Yeah, Barristan Selmy, yeah.
So they kill him. They maim Grey Worm, which actually kills me because I'm totally shipping his relationship with...
With,
not Melisandre, but, you know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah. She was the translator.
Yeah,
she
the
was
cutie
trying to
pie.
Yeah, she's adorable.
She is adorable, and I ship that relationship so hard.
Yeah, Unsullied and translator. Okay, good.
No, they're just so cute for each other, and it's like, I ship it.
Oh, sure. No, I'm not saying
Just like
that.
I totally ship Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen.
Do you really?
Yes,
They have a really good friendship or something in real life.
They really do, and I ship it so hard. I need it. I need.
You need this to happen.
I need it to happen in real life because they are related, and that's just how you roll when you're a Targaryen.
Yes. Oh, you mean related in the show? Yeah, because that little theory.
Because we all know that that's fucking true. I'm beep.
It's gonna happen one way or another.
We all know it's true.
Well, we all do.
Rhaegar Targaryen, like, totally...
Owned Lyanna. Owned her.
Dude, he owned that poo-tang, okay?
he owned her.
He was all up in it, but he didn't rape her. I think she fell in love with him.
It was the Tower of Joy. You do not want to go against that irony.
Thank you. Plus, hello, even Viserys. Viserys was hot. He was an asshole, but he was hot. So I can only imagine what Rhaegar looked like. I would have done it. I would have done it. Plus, hello, Robert Baratheon. Now, if I didn't have my hair clipped up, you would have seen an epic hair flip right there.
We should definitely film these podcasts instead of just recording.
Sometimes I think we should. I think next podcast we should film.
Okay.
We should film them. If I had my choice between Robert Baratheon,
which was played by Mark Addy at that point,
yes,
but
who, let's say 10, 20 years ago.
Can I interrupt you for just a second?
Yes.
It really plays into what you're saying. Comic book girl 16 or 19, I can't remember her name, did a back history for Robert Baratheon, and they chose an image for how he looked when he was younger, and guess who they used? Henry Cavill.
Really? Okay.
You could see that happening. So anyway,
I can see that happening.
Just go for it, because I figured that would help.
Even 10, 20 years ago, he was still a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was part of a noble house, but it wasn't a super big deal.
No.
Or I could go with the may not be popular, but kings of Westeros. And they got dragons.
They got dragons.
They got dragons.
Dragons.
They got dragons. And they have pretty violet eyes and white blonde hair. Dude, I'm just saying, if it were me, we'd make hot babies. But, I mean, but if King Baratheon looked anything like Henry Cavill, we'd probably have sexy babies too. But he's the usurper to the throne, so dragons, usurper.
Super
Hot
sounds like
violet eyes, Henry Cavill.
It's like having a nice, rich piece of chocolate.
But I'm still... Dude, if Rhaegar looked anything like Viserys, I'm totally picking Targaryen all day long. And twice on Sundays.
And if you're really, really in the mood, Wednesdays.
Well, on Wednesdays
hump day.
On Wednesdays we wear pink. So yeah, so I would definitely pick Targaryen
Over
every day.
Baratheon.
Yeah, over Baratheon every day of the week and twice on Sundays. So
I love that.
yeah, so I think Lyanna Stark fell in love with Rhaegar Targaryen, and they were getting it on.
Let's get it on.
And instead of admitting that they didn't want to wait long enough to get married because she had a contract and whatever, they just said, "Oh, he raped me," and yeah, and then she had Jon Snow, but
at the same time,
Lyanna died giving birth. And then Ned, being the good man, was like, "No, I'm just gonna say it's my bastard so that I can take care of him. But like, my wife's a total cunt, so she's never gonna." Which absolutely freaking kills me.
This is passionate Sarah at work.
I wish you guys could
flail all over the place.
I wish you could see the epic flailing that is going on in my life right now.
This is the best part of the story that they tell that we haven't seen.
Here is what absolutely stabs a knife in my soul, twists it, and pulls it out slowly.
This is me with the Oberyn Martell death scene. She's just taking a minute. She's taking a minute.
Why would Ned not tell Catelyn the truth? Why would he lie?
You can't say it's honor-bound reasons.
No, because that's your wife, dude. If anybody should know the truth, what?
If there's anybody who knows the truth, it should have been Catelyn.
It should have been Catelyn. That's your wife, dude. She would have taken that boy in if she had known the truth.
That Jon is a Targaryen who has a legitimate claim to the throne, which Robert Baratheon was already okay with, killing babies that had any threat to his rule.
But no. Here's what I'm saying. I think if Catelyn had known the truth about his birth, Catelyn would have been okay with calling him a Stark.
Son. As well.
Because he was not a son of Neddard Stark. There is no reason why they couldn't have said maybe it was Brandon's bastard.
His brother.
Ned had a brother named Brandon.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they say it was Brandon's bastard? Because even Brandon had dark hair. It's very possible that Brandon could have had a bastard and Ned found out about it and took that child in as his own.
I would agree. There is no logical reason why Ned did not say anything. However,
he's stupid. He's stupid.
I
God
don't...
bless you, Selena, wherever you are. She is stupid. Anyway, sorry. Matt would get a kick out of that.
I might. It's not that I'm not getting a kick out of it. It's like because I'm following so hard to what you're saying. It is stupid, and I feel stupid for even trying to freaking justify why Ned didn't say anything. Only thing that I know is the reason why he didn't go around telling anybody else is because Jon would have had a legitimate claim to the throne.
Yes, and I get, and I
get that.
I totally get that, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad that he didn't do that.
But he could have told Catelyn.
He could have told his wife.
Wife of all people. So there's got to be a deeper reasoning why, unless Ned was just being an idiot and thought way too complicated that it was all going to leak out at the moment he told his wife.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe he didn't trust his wife. Maybe he didn't. Maybe at that time, at that particular moment, because you have to think they didn't have like 6 kids at that point.
No, they didn't. However, I will say that Catelyn was supposed to be betrothed to Brandon before, things went bad
Yes.
in King's Landing. And Ned took the place and was like, I'll marry you. So I don't think it's a matter of trust, because I think he trusted her well enough.
No, I disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. Can we pause real quick? So I think instead, I think it was what he was expected to do. I think when everything went down with Brandon, I think that Ned did the honorable thing and stood up and said, hey, we need to have an alliance with your family. I will marry you. We will keep this alliance going. I will marry you. I don't think it had anything to do with trust at that point. I think it literally had to do with the fact that they needed this alliance. Brandon was now gone.
Things happen pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I think maybe holding on to a huge secret like Jon.
They could have even said it was Benjen's. They could have even said that Jon was Benjen's son.
Hard to say because...
Before he went and took the black.
Sure. I mean, there's a number of ways. A number of ways it could have gone
Because it
down.
wouldn't matter. Benjen's at the wall.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to write to him and ask him.
Yeah, but that would be adding a lie for someone to say, oh, well, if this is true, and the way you're treating your own bastard son, I think there's something up with that. It always takes something little for anyone to look into. Now, I completely understand. Just say it. This is how it is. No big deal. No one's going to notice. But then, we've seen movies and we've seen TV shows. I mean... the worst kept secret.
I'm not saying that they tell everybody that it's Benjen's.
Oh yeah.
But I'm saying like
just between Catelyn and Jon.
Just between Catelyn and Ned.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Or Catelyn, Ned, and Jon.
Yeah.
Whoever, he could be a Stark, but they don't need to say who his father was.
No.
They don't need to say. And if they absolutely have to have it on his birth certificate, why don't they just ask Benjen? Tell Jon the truth.
Mm-hmm.
When he's old enough to take it, which he was definitely old enough to take it and understand it and keep it to himself. But why don't they just ask Benjen, like, hey, for the sake of giving him a name, please, for the sake of giving him a name, will you take ownership of him?
Right, and I think it would. I want to disagree with you on saying give it to Benjen as this. Okay, yeah, he was the guy that had a child and stuff.
Well,
I would want it to be Brandon because it's a lot more solidified in a lie that would make more sense. Because he was already betrothed to Catelyn anyway, and to say that he had an illegitimate child just would have
that might have looked poorly on Catelyn.
Sure, but a lot of things look poorly on everybody at this point.
But no one's gonna go to the wall and ask Benjen, "Hey, is that really your kid?" No one's gonna write him a letter and say, "Hey, is this really your child?"
Point taken.
But someone's gonna look at Catelyn and say,
you didn't know the man you're about to get married to had an
illegitimate child?
Right.
How did you not know? Or they might have even said, hey, who's to say this isn't Catelyn's son?
Good point.
So that's why I'm saying give it to Benjen.
Too easy, but let's do it.
Give it to Benjen. He's at the wall. He's not allowed to have children anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
No.
Just put his name on it.
Where you see your tactic, I see mine. I mean, I understand your points.
We just have to agree to disagree.
We'll go for that. Though I do see it in a lot of ways. Like, I didn't actually think of it like that because you did bring up some good stuff, but we'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
I still think he's a Targaryen.
Oh, that we will agree wholeheartedly.
He's a Targaryen.
He's a Targaryen because
he's too pretty. He's pretty, and Because I like him.
I can see why you like him.
Oh, he's
and
so
that ain't
pretty.
no. That is not a dance move.
White girl dance move.
Yeah, that dance move. I'm coughing with
Man,
you.
I
Uh,
would put my fingers all up in his hair.
You know what's funny is like, I'll tell you what.
Tell me what.
I'll tell you that Jon Snow has always been that kind of character for me that has been just okay. I never hated him. I never loved him. But as time went on, you realize that he's been put to the test like any other character ever has in this show, woman or not. And he's made bad choices, he's made good choices, but for some reason, he's always just mucked up to be, yeah, he's cool, he's fine. For me.
I think he's been put to the test in ways that
Really define him?
yes, and not only that, like he's stronger than any of the other Stark children. And I think it's because he was never made to feel like one of them.
Nope.
And he always had to be stronger because he was not allowed to sit at the table with them.
Nope.
He was not allowed to call himself a Stark.
In a matter of speaking, that's kind of like the biggest thing that drives the force of this.
Him wanting to prove himself.
Right. So if you're not the same name as the family you're a part of, it really makes you an outcast.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of different metaphorical and really emotional ways.
Even Sansa doesn't call him her brother. Well, she a coot. So, I don't even care what she has to say.
I don't even care.
I don't even care.
Rue.
Bran doesn't really pay attention to what Jon has to say. Rickon doesn't pay attention to what Jon has to say.
Of course Rickon wouldn't. He's a baby.
Well, he is little, but he still doesn't treat Jon like a member of the family. The only ones who ever did
was Arya
and Robb.
And Robb? Okay, yeah. And, well, of course, Ned himself, but...
and Robb.
Those three.
Because Robb would always say, like, you're my brother.
Yeah. Has probably, in terms of the way music goes as well, has the best soundtrack for... It's called Goodbye Brother for the first season. It was kind of like their moment for when they part ways. And it was just... It's the best. It's defining.
But I also feel like the reason why Robb always treated Jon like he was a part of the family was because he was also pretty much the same age as Theon. And he took Theon as his brother.
So why not Jon?
Ned treated Theon like his son. Taught him archery, taught him how to ride, how to fight with a sword. Everything that a young lord should know.
Exactly.
So, I think that kind of colored Robb's vision so that he didn't see Jon as a Snow. But Theon never let Jon forget it.
Sucks.
Which is why when they find the direwolves, Jon's like, oh, there's one for each of the Starks. And then Theon's like, oh, here's one for the bastard.
That one's yours, Snow. And it was so ironic because it was a white puppy. It was a white direwolf, and he's so cute. He's the runt, as he was called. Mm-hmm. And
I love that I called him Ghost. I know it does.
Anyway, and Ghost is kind of metaphorically fitting because that's how Jon Snow was seen, as a ghost.
And I think that's why he called him Ghost was a manifestation of how he felt.
And that's the one thing that I think I love the most about this show is the metaphors, the ironies, and more or less just the deep stories that go on and they're weaving throughout this entire show.
I feel like Jon is the most human out of all of them.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, he goes through season 4. He meets Mans Rhaeda. He sees like this is what's going on. This is the ish that's getting real. These White Walkers are no joke.
They are no joke.
This is serious. This is coming. This is
Hard
happening.
Home proved that, and that was a...
And then what happened, in season 5, which I thought was really great, they elected a new Lord Commander.
And
Maester Aemon chose Jon Snow. Maester Aemon's vote was what decided. Now, I wonder if Maester Aemon knew. Now, I say that because
That's
knew
a
Rhaegar.
good question.
He knew Rhaegar. He knew how pretty Rhaegar was. He wasn't always blind.
That's his brother.
He wasn't always blind.
No, he wasn't. Funny enough, but though, Master Aemon was a Targaryen. Is a Targaryen. And, he had a choice between taking the black or being a successor to the throne.
And he chose to study as a maester and take the black. Exactly.
And, noble as it is, but that is such a good question, though. I wonder if he knew, too.
Because you see the Targaryens, well, Viserys was crazy.
Yeah, he was called the Beggar Knight, or the Beggar King.
But he was just crazy. He felt like he was entitled to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Maester Aemon, whatever Maester Aemon had to say was rule. That was rule of law.
And he had a really good
leadership capabilities.
Absolutely.
Daenerys, even though sometimes she's a little misguided because I think she follows her heart a little too much and she needs to
not do that so
follow
much.
her head.
Yeah.
But I do think that they have very good leadership capabilities. I think it's that fire in their blood, literally that dragon blood.
Like a hot temper.
And Jon, naturally, people gravitate towards him.
Yeah.
And the people that don't are typically the people that are intimidated by him.
Well, I think the Night's Watch was heavily intimidated by him. That's why they always brought him.
He was a good fighter.
He was a good fighter.
He was a good leader. He motivated people. People trusted him.
Biggest common thing about him is naturally you want to trust him.
You want to trust him. The Lord Commander of the Night's Watch gave him his own blade.
That's saying
and
something.
made him his squire because he wanted him to be the next Lord Commander. That in itself is huge. Which
that would
is
be
why,
a moment where you
hands down, he's a Targaryen. And I wonder if Maester Aemon knew.
And that's where you say, "Nuff said, drop the mic."
Yeah.
You need a drop mic moment in this point. Because
I need to talk to George R.R. Martin, like him and me. We need to talk.
And I really believe that there is so many speculations, but it makes so much sense on their own explanations. Like Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen had a beautiful baby that Sarah Brown loves and enjoys so much. I believe that maybe, just maybe, and I'd love to have in this wishful thinking.
Brothers wrote a letter and communicated and told each other. And
yeah, and Rhaegar and then Aemon knew. Aemon really, really knew. And
I think that's why he always, he put his neck out for Jon Snow when it was ever possible.
Oh, yeah. And more importantly, I think there's a small, silly, stupid reason why nobody said a damn thing. And it's more or less because being a Targaryen at this point, you had the Mad King who really ruined the idea of being a king at this point because he was going crazy. He ended up hitting all the Starks at once and right where they lived. They killed the father, they killed the brother, and then Ned has to go off and, marry Catelyn. And so it's like, okay, we have a Targaryen baby boy, and I'm not about to tell anybody at this point what's going on because Targaryens are now looked upon as evil, horrible people because of the Mad King. And so I feel, just me personally, that maybe nobody said anything because they wanted Jon to figure it out himself.
But
as cruel as that is.
But if no one's alive to tell him, because that information was closely kept, how is he going to figure it out if no one can even give him a clue?
And you know what's funny? That I was watching this video last night, and this was the coolest thing because it's speculation and theories based off the books that, you know, Jon Snow happened to slip into Warg territory in dreams where he went into Ghost. And that happened ever so often. There's evidence to support it. This guy, Alt Shift X is his name, and he's so detailed. He has a bit of a boring voice, but he's so detailed in the things that happen that these theories, they could be true. In fact, I want to show it to you. It's really cool.
I don't know if my brain can handle that much information.
It's okay. But the theory is that for Jon being who he is and what's going to happen, how will he find out his true parentage, is through plot elements that Bran has been going through, Jon has been going through, and various other things like with Melisandre and dreams
Which
and
she's
stuff
going
like
to bring
that.
him back to life.
It better happen, and if it doesn't, it better happen later on, like season 7 or 8, because you know they want to go that far anyway.
It's going to happen next season, because damn it, I need Snow.
I'm just saying.
Jon Snow knows nothing, and I need him to know everything. I need him to know everything now.
You know, the worst part about your coronation is I'll never be able to hit you again. Anyway, as far as I'm considering, I'm with you on every single theory. I feel that maybe, you know, to each their own on who they should have blamed. Or not blamed, but, you know, said, okay, yeah, this is Jon's child. We just, you know, need to take care of it. I just feel like with emotions heightened, with people having these little theories and ideas of what would happen, nobody said shit because Targaryens, man, they'd be crazy. And we don't want nobody to know.
Yep.
It's sad to say.
But
In the end, though,
he's a Targaryen. It's true. He's going to figure it out. And then because Targaryens marry into each other, he and Daenerys are going to have beautiful babies. And that's going to make me happy because that's what's going to happen. Yay!
season ender, series finale. But, you know, you do realize that how... Okay, well, we've already established this, but the fact of the matter is that Jon Snow was betrayed by his own brothers. In the end of the finale, which you said you already knew that Jon dies, there's a theory that
he's mortally wounded.
Mortally wounded. I'm only going by what other people say. I don't believe that.
Melisandre's going to bring him back because that's what the Lord of Light does. And he's going to be like, F your religion, biatch. I do what I want because I'm Jon Snow and I know nothing.
Why did she have to die, though?
I know,
really
that made me
liked it.
sad. I liked Ygritte.
Ygritte was just amazing and was the best fit for Jon.
She was such a strong lady character, and I was like,
She really
yay,
was.
finally.
Yeah.
And she wasn't a total biatch like Cersei.
Mm-mm.
And
She was headstrong, maybe a little stubborn, but it wasn't what defined her. She was
she was a warrior.
She was a warrior and a wildling, so she had to adapt and change to things that happen around her consistently. Never a dull moment. So sometimes when George R.R. Martin kills off characters, it's in the respect of the ironies of who they are, what they do, and stuff like that. I get it, but there are times where I wish they'd just stop dying.
Seriously, and it's like, no, I liked her though.
Stop taking things I love away.
And Stannis Baratheon, goddamn Father of the Year.
I'm fine.
I'm taking his ass to church.
Preach, woman, preach.
For real though, he sacrificed his own.
If that's not controversial enough.
She was the kindest, sweetest, best character in the whole damn thing.
Did you see my Tumblr post by any chance?
Yes. I did.
I wasn't saying that Shireen's death was good. I'm saying shit like this happens all the time. Stop being surprised by it. But I do not like the fact that they sacrificed her.
I'm not surprised by it. I'm angry about it. I'm not surprised. I'm angry. Because she was a beautiful person.
She was amazing.
She was teaching Gilly to read.
Gilly?
She taught, yeah. when she was at the wall.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
And she taught Sir Davos to read.
Yes. I forgot about Gilly, though, but yes. Because that was the best relationship
That was the
ever.
cutest. I thought he was going to kidnap her and be like, you need to come with me and I'm going to save you. You see me rowing. Hating.
I just, if there's a character that I love and that hasn't been touched yet, it's Davos.
I like him, but I think he's a little too loyal to Stannis Baratheon.
I think so, too.
I would be like, peace out, bitch. You on your own.
Davos.
Especially at the Battle of Blackwater Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been like, nah, dude. You are on your own. Peace out, home skillet.
I love his character. I do love how loyal he is, but I love how he does kind of be like, look, this is what you need to do. Let me cut through the BS. Stannis, we need to get the heck out. And then Stannis is like, no.
Especially when Stannis is like, I'm going to follow what the red woman says. Yeah, because she has done everything amazingly so far.
And
she takes you to the wall. Half your garrison dies on the way to Winterfell.
And then half of them leave after you burn your daughter.
And then Melisandre conveniently leaves.
I was like,
OMG.
You biznatch.
Oh my god, yeah.
I know.
And then she tried to have sex with my husband, Jon Snow. Biatch. She was flashing her hootenanny all up in his face, and I was like, nah.
When Jon Snow had the balls to say no. Yeah, which was good.
Good man.
Good man.
Good man. You don't need to be all up in that fire crotch.
No.
Bad idea.
Now it's time for a good idea, bad idea. The end.
Like, look at the boobies, don't touch the hootenanny. Look at the boobies, don't touch the hootenanny.
In fact, actually, don't even touch anything. Get off.
No, that's what
Get
I said.
off.
Just look. I didn't say touch. I said look at the boobies. Free the nipple. Look at the boobies. Don't touch the hootenanny.
Hashtag free the nipple. Oh, I want to say, overall, Season 5 was just not the greatest season for me. It was a little lackluster in the thrills and chills.
No, completely disagree.
That's fine. It's okay. For me, it was like a steady incline of thrills, and it hit hard home.
That
fight
scene!
Hard home?
Yes!
That was the best godforsaken massacre, heart-pounding, hand-shaking. What's gonna happen next? How are they gonna get out of this alive?
I literally had my fingernails in my mouth, and I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Okay, well, I don't even care if Matt hears this. He's a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't watch Walking Dead.
Okay.
He doesn't watch Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I'm like, why are we together? Oh, that's right, because you're kind of cute when you smile. And you smack my butt. But, why are we together? You don't watch two of the best television shows ever? Why are we together? Anyways. I was sitting there watching HBO illegally. And I was watching the episode. And I was watching that battle, and it was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no.
It was so unexpected.
Oh no,
I loved it.
Oh no, oh no. And Matt's like, are you okay? Like, shh. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Babe, shh. Oh,
Get
no,
lost.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. No, 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 no. And then Matt's like, are you all right? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. But
that was some stuff right there.
that was some ish. Because I was like, no, we don't need zombie children. No.
But it happened.
Anything with children is an automatic. I am on the 12 o'clock nope train to fuck that bill. No. No. No.
Like, I usually, weird thing for me, but I'm laying down when I'm usually watching these shows. Okay, I'm like this. Computer's on my chest.
I was sitting at the dining room table.
Yeah, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a good dialogue scene. Where like I'm not asking you to forget your dead. Stuff like that. I was like, okay, that's really cool. They're getting ready to leave.
A powerful scene.
A very powerful scene. They're getting ready to leave, and then suddenly they stop and turn to the mountains. Okay, first off, gorgeous cinematography right there.
Yes, I
Just
agree.
saying, seeing that snow coming over the slopes and then the very top of the mountains, eerie as hell. It set the mood really quickly.
And then they're like, do you hear that? Do you hear that? And I'm like, hear what? Hear what? Hear what? Hear what?
Is this a White Walker attack? John, get the heck out of there! And it didn't happen, but it happened.
And they left all the dragon glass.
Oh, God. And I'm sitting here, and this is what's happening. Sorry, guys, you can't hear it or see it, but...
He's basically having a seizure. He's literally having a fit of epilepsy, guys. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I'm like looking at this. Oh my God, what's wrong with me?
And he came.
There I went. Oh. I just came. That was some gorgeous, if not brutal, if not... Why did I love this moment in my life?
And then the one guy was just like staring at him like...
Raising his hands.
And then like...
That was the come moment.
Dude, I'm not even ashamed of it. I came. I did. I am not ashamed of that.
Oh, where'd you go?
Well,
to the deep places of my head.
I went into my happy place.
I got high off of that and then went through withdrawals immediately thereafter. Like, it was, oh, God.
I went in my happy place and it was like, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
Oh, my God.
So,
at least the feeling's mutual, because when I came up and asked you, you gave me only just one objective thought. How did the dragon glass not, what was it? Valerian steel work against the White Walkers? I'm like, good question, but why weren't you excited with me?
I mean, I was excited, but it was like, that killed my vibe. Like, bitch, don't kill my vibe. Why did Valerian steel work? So I want to know. So if anyone listens to this and they actually get this far, because we're now at an hour and a half, so if you don't listen to the whole thing, I'm pretty disappointed in you, but...
Well, we did cover 2 seasons, so, this is the reason why it's this long.
But if you didn't listen this far, I'm very disappointed in you, and... Yeah, we'll have a talk later. But if somebody knows, comment. Tell me.
Tell me. Loki style.
Very good. Very good. I understood that reference. Thank you. Teamwork makes the dream work. Yes, please tell me. Tell me why Valerian steel worked. Doug and I actually had a theory about that. I actually had the theory that maybe it does have a bit of dragon glass, like, on the edge of it.
The weapons of... Yeah, possibly. Of course, it's ancient religion and culture back in the day, like Fist of the First Men and stuff like that. Maybe it has something to do with it, but that's not enough to go on.
Yeah, I don't know. I really need to know. So I need George R.R. Martin to tell me why it works. Personally, I need someone to give me his number, because I would
maybe
like
address so you can mail it to him.
I could find the address to his publishers, because I would definitely love to ask that question. And I would write him a super cool letter and ask him.
He's a literary genius. Genius doesn't cover it for George R.R. Martin. I think he's just a prodigy.
Yeah, I think he's just a great storyteller.
He's an amazing storyteller.
Yeah. But no, I really want to know why Valerian steel works. It's not that I wasn't excited, but it was just like,
you just posed the question during the biggest massacre of my life that was thrilling.
I'm sorry.
And horrifying. No, you're fine. Not you. It's that question.
But then when that one White Walker was like just raising his hands and everybody got right back up, it was like, I just came again. It was like I needed a moment. I needed a cold shower, a a cigarette, and a beer, and I don't even smoke.
But you do drink, so it still works out.
Well,
socially.
No, not. I just like to drink. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's season 5 in a nutshell.
It is. The highlights, I would say, of season 5. Now, let me justify what I was saying. My disclaimer: is it the worst season? No. Me and you have agreed that season 3 is not the greatest. I think season 5 is much better than season 3.
By leaps and bounds.
However, I don't think it had the most excitement. I was very upset when Barristan Selmy was killed off because actually in the books he's very much prominent, and I don't know why they decided to get rid of him.
I'm actually really mad. I didn't like the Sons of the Harpy.
I was a little underwhelming for them.
Oh, you know what else was really underwhelming? Was the snake fight with the sand snakes. That was very underwhelming. I thought that was supposed to be like super, super great, and I was like, this blows. Like, why was this even included? Which the sand snakes are Oberyn Martell's daughters, BT dubs.
Yes.
But yeah, they're bastards. But I'm just saying, like...
It doesn't matter. They were so built up for this.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'll send my sand snakes on you. You will see the true power of the Viper. And I'm like, but it was literally like a 2-minute fight. Like, I don't... What?
And it was a poor fight at that.
It was a very poor fight. And I was like, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
I mean... If there's anything that disappointed me the most, that underwhelmed me, is Dorne in general. Everything that happened in there. We had, Mrs. Sand widowed, and any character development, any acting ability that had happened in season 4 went away in season 5 for me. Like, she was there, she was fine, but that... I didn't see grief from her. I just saw anger, and the anger just clouded everything else, and I'm like...
But sometimes that's how people deal with grief.
Yeah, but with her, I just felt that there should have been more.
I will agree that there should have been more, but sometimes that's how people deal with grief, is just by getting angry. I do think that she got angry for the wrong reasons and at the wrong person.
You're just adding on to the more of the disappointment of her character kind of de-evolving from this point.
Oberyn's brother, the King of Dorne, or I guess like the ruler of Dorne, Lord of Dorne, whatever.
I actually didn't know he was in a wheelchair. The entire time I had no clue until towards the finale. I was like, oh.
But yeah, I feel like, I don't know. She got mad at his brother, and it's like, Oberyn volunteered to fight. Mm-hmm. What is his brother supposed to do? Oberyn volunteered, and he was like, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
It's not like he was murdered in cold blood.
No, he put this on himself, and I completely agree with that.
I do too. Like, I'm sorry that the Lannisters keep killing your family, but
the Starks for that matter,
or servants of the family of the Lannisters keep killing members of your family. But like, Oberyn volunteered to fight. He knew that there was a possibility that he could die. Like, what do you want me to do? Mm-hmm. And that's essentially what he's saying. But that's also not to say that Oberyn's brother isn't guilty. Like, of course he feels a lot of guilt, because he was like, that's my brother. Like, I'm grieving for my brother. But he was like, what do you want me to do? He volunteered. And
he had the most natural reaction. Do nothing at this point until there's an opportunity that comes to your lap. And I completely understand that. I agree with you 100%.
But I don't think that they should take vengeance on King's Landing at all. Oberyn volunteered. He knew that there was a 50-50 chance of not walking out of there.
That's it.
I mean, listen, I would be pissed off if that was my family member, but at the end of the day, like, he volunteered. He wasn't assassinated. He volunteered. Mm-hmm. He volunteered as tribute.
Oh, Sarah.
And the odds were not in his favor.
Oh, God. He should have just backed away and said, you on your back is fine enough for me.
I would have just stabbed him in the eyeball and called it a day.
There is an actual video.
Or slit his throat. Or put my spear through his throat. Or stabbed him in the heart.
Or cut off his legs and,
Yeah, anything. Tried to cut off his head, grabbed a big sword, cut off his head. Something, anything.
Ooh.
Double tap!
He should have double tapped, and that's what makes it very disappointing. However, I will say, funny enough, in the books, it wasn't his fault that he got overzealous. He actually put his spear down or whatever and grabbed the broadsword that the mountain had and was ready to do his killing move when the mountain tripped him up and did the deed. And it wasn't like he was trying to get him to confess consistently.
They just did that for the show.
Well, yes, they made that the more prominent thing. Throughout the entire fight scene, Martell was trying to get him to confess. Mm-hmm. When he fell down on his back, he's like, I will follow you to the 7 hells until you confess. And, I can't remember what at that point, but I think he just knew that wasn't going to happen, so he was ready to just throw it down. He was like, say her name, and then, do it, and then, nope. Whatever would happen next was unknown to Tyrion because he saw the worst death ever in front of his face. And then he also saw his breakfast. But in any case, what made it underwhelming for the Sand Snakes and everything was the fact that they chose 3 girls, 3 beautiful, gorgeous girls. I was waiting for some sense and sensibility between all 3 of them in some way, different shape or form. I was looking for anger. I was looking for disgust. I was looking for the vengeance in the wrong kind and vengeance of the right kind. And did I get any of that? No. It is what it is, and I get that. Maybe we'll get more of them in the next season, but they made it such a big deal. We were excited to see it, and nothing happened. Not much, anyway. And it's just kind of disappointing. I mean, anyone who's grief-stricken, I understand, but the anger was more prominent than it needed to be, handled much differently, either from a writing perspective or just a character perspective. And I'm like, the one time that I actually was okay with it was when Mrs. Sand was talking to Jaime and talking about the incest relationship he had with his own sister. She said, no one would have batted an eye here. That's just how it works over here. We're a lot more than what King's Landing represents, and I really like that. I actually was like, oh, some more personality coming from you, darling. There we go.
I don't know. Season 5 was good. I'm ready for season 6.
Yeah, it needs to happen yesterday.
Yup.
So, but as I said, I don't believe that it's the worst season. I think it has some underwhelming elements that were very hyped up, but nothing came out of it. Hard Home made me cum. Just going to say that bluntly. Daenerys and her rescue with the dragon was a very nice touch. I really thought that was great. And then Jon Snow's death, of course, brings a lot of subject to controversy of what's going to happen next. Season 5 had the most controversies, from rape to who got killed to what happened. But overall, it wasn't a bad season.
No.
So that's all I have to say about that.
I agree. So now that you've stood by us, we will be back with more podcasts soon. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys, so much. You guys have a wonderful day.
Till next time.